A chopper touches down on the USS Roosevelt, cruising the Black Sea. CIA agent Jack Ryan gets a hot tip. A refrigerated cargo ship fresh out of Crimea is carrying Russian nuclear weapon materials. The CIA scrambles a covert ops team, disguised as civilians, to scope it out. Under cover of night, Ryan's squad speeds a dinghy alongside the ship. They fire a grappling hook, silently boarding the freighter. Taking out a lone sailor, they slip into the cargo hold.
Clear! Looking for 2 digits, 6B!
Locating container 6B, Ryan spots a suspicious pipe sticking out. Cracking the door, they find a Russian hiding inside. Yuri, a nuclear weapons expert. He says he was told to board the ship and wait for Americans to extract and protect him. No nukes found. The mission's now a rescue op. Yuri drops a bomb. Project Sokol, a finished nuclear weapon, exists, but he doesn't know where it is. Bringing back just one witness, the CIA's plans gone sideways. Ryan's boss, Elizabeth, orders them to a safe spot in Greece. At dawn, they hit Lagrana, where a car's waiting. Yuri reveals he's a hunted man for knowing too much. Sokol's a stealth nuke with a 3-megaton yield, part of Russia's war plan, 7 days to the Rhine. As they approach the car, gunfire erupts. The pickup team's wiped out. Ryan, leaning on his grid, gets Yuri out alive. He radios Elizabeth. "Where are you?" "Everyone's dead. The whole team. Where do I go now?" Elizabeth sends Ryan to a safe house in Athens, telling him to check in later, but cars tail them hard. Ryan swerves onto a mountain road, using an oncoming truck to shove a pursuer off a cliff. No time for sightseeing, they're focused on survival. Ryan drives their bullet-riddled ride into Athens, thinking they've lost the hunters. Wrong. Another car closes in. Clueless how their moves are leaking, Ryan floors it, weaving through traffic to shake them. Realizing escape's futile, he slams the brakes at a turn, reverses fast, and smashes the enemy's car. Safe for now. But Athens traffic's a nightmare, their car's stuck in a jam. Ryan tells Yuri to bail, aiming for a nearby building. Bullets fly. Yuri takes a hit, wounded. They duck inside, Ryan clearing out a family to secure the place. The enemy's on them. A thug snarls, "Who got you out of Russia?" Cornered, Ryan fights to stay alive. Powerless, he watches Yuri, the only witness, get gunned down. With no options left, Ryan bolts, escaping by a thread. Facing a pack of armed enemies alone, Ryan's no superhuman, but his instincts keep him alive where most would have died. He bolts, blending into the bustling Athens crowd. Gone. In Prague, Czech Republic, Russian Defense Minister Popov preps to meet President Elena. The press shouldn't be here, but camera flashes swarm Popov's entourage. When he presses Elena on NATO's plan to deploy surface-to-air missiles in the Czech Republic, she fires back. If Russia halts its invasion of Ukraine, she'll consider rejecting NATO's offer. Invading a neighbor and shattering peace outweighs missile placements. The room tenses instantly. Popov's pissed, feeling blindsided by Elena's public jab. "Watch your step, Madam President." The next day, they're set to catch a soccer match between their countries. Chatting on the VIP walkway, a sniper's bullet rips through Popov's skull. Chaos erupts. Elena's whisked away by bodyguards. The assassination of Russia's defense minister on Czech soil sends shockwaves worldwide. Meanwhile, Ryan hits a safe house in Athens and calls Rome. James and Elizabeth, holed up at the United States Embassy, are on edge. "Where are you?" "Yuri's dead. They got him." "Popov's gone too." Learning of Popov's hit, Ryan connects the dots. The 7 days to the Rhine plan is in motion. This killing's the first domino. The Sokol nuke's the last. Elizabeth lays it out. Ryan's wanted in Greece for illegal entry and a Russian's murder. If he doesn't turn himself in, the CIA will strip his embassy status, leaving him without diplomatic immunity. Ryan knows his intel's too critical to let slip. James trusts his gut, slipping him a code. "Head to the sanctuary." Ryan gets it. He powers off his phone, yanks the SIM, and tosses the device in a curbside trash can. Once a CIA golden boy, he's now a liability after the Athens mess. The higher-ups want him to take the fall. Night falls on glittering Athens. Undocumented and alone, Ryan's adrift in the city, with nowhere to turn. In Russia, the Kremlin pins Popov's death on the United States. Petrov, Popov's successor, tells the president, America's using NATO to choke Russia, creeping right to their doorstep. The oil price wars bled Russia's wealth dry. On the same day Popov died, United States intel snatched Yuri, a nuclear weapons expert, trying to flip him. Lucky for Russia, it flopped.
Fortunately, the mission backfired.
We're just too busy hiding.
to do anything about it.
General Luka, a heavy hitter, speaks up. Alone with Petrov, Luka drops a hint: the assassin might not be American, they could be hiding a bigger play. The tip about Yuri, the Russian nuclear expert, was a Russian plant, fed to the CIA to bait them. Ryan realizes he's been played a pawn in a bigger game. In Athens, Ryan tails the guy who tried to kill him last night, snapping a quick photo. Using his phone's GPS, he tracks down a clothing store called Paradise. James's sanctuary hint meant this place. The shop owner, hearing Ryan's story, knows exactly who he is and why he's here. He ducks into a back room, returning with a tie box. Under the ties, Ryan finds a wad of cash and an address. Borrowing the owner's computer, Ryan logs into a friend's website, firing off a message for help. Following the address, he meets Tony, a CIA operative who aided him in Turkey. Tony now runs a car repair shop in Athens, a cover for trading intel with CIA contacts. This time, he's Ryan's temporary lifeline. Meanwhile, James and Elizabeth catch an early flight from Rome to Athens. At the local police station, the chief greets them personally. Ryan's Athens killing can't be ignored, especially with Russia leaning hard on Greece. Interpol slapped a red notice on him. James hopes to find Ryan before the Russians do. James drags Elizabeth to Tony's garage. Ryan, anticipating this, told Tony to deny his presence if Elizabeth shows up. James smells Ryan's nearby, slipping Tony a note. Nothing's free. Tony demands cash. A Russian GRU agent, Konstantin, watches from a distance. He's the one tasked with hunting and killing Ryan. Back at the garage, Tony warns Ryan. He's on an urgent wanted list. Grasping the stakes, Ryan's hell-bent on uncovering the truth to clear his name. He shows Tony the photo of last night's attacker. Tony recognizes him, a heavy hitter in Athens with goons and cops in his pocket. Ryan bets he's Russian intel, the one who killed Yuri, and likely tied to Popov's assassination. Logging back into his friend's site, Ryan sets a meet. In Moscow's Kremlin, Petrov swears in as Russia's new defense minister. Soon, Czech President Elena calls, offering condolences for Popov and reminding Petrov of Popov's deal. If Russia halts its Ukraine war, the Czechs will nix NATO's missile deployment. Petrov shrugs it off. Popov's promises don't bind him. Russia's doubling down on Ukraine, and any NATO aid to the Czechs is a threat. He warns Elena. Cozy up to America, and Russia will mark you as an enemy. Elena, stuck leading a small nation caught between Russia and the United States, can't afford to piss off either side. Her father cautions, Russia will retaliate, and it doesn't matter who pulled the trigger, they'll spin this for their gain. Elena suspects Russia staged Popov's hit, but she's got no proof. In Athens, James and Elizabeth stake out Tony's garage, waiting for Ryan. Suddenly, Athens cops swarm in. Tony, sensing trouble, hustles Ryan into hiding. Sure enough, Konstantin GRU's top dog storms in with his crew. Tony plays it cool, feet up on the desk, acting clueless to every question. Konstantin orders a sweep, tearing through every car in the place. James grips his gun, but they've got to stay calm. Any rash move could blow everything. He silently prays Konstantin's men don't find Ryan. The cops rip the garage apart but come up empty, leaving in a huff. James exhales, relieved. Elizabeth, frustrated, has no clue how to report Ryan's absence to the brass. Once Tony's sure Konstantin's gone, he hits a switch, raising the garage's repair platform. Ryan crawls out from a tight crawlspace below. Borrowing one of Tony's cars, he heads to meet Mike, ex-CIA station chief from Venezuela, the friend he'd contacted earlier. Mike's retired, running a private gig with old contacts, and business is good. He takes Ryan to his base on Santorini. Hearing Ryan's ordeal and next steps, Mike's in for a big play. Meanwhile, Elizabeth catches on. James isn't helping nab Ryan, he's quietly backing him. She doesn't snitch, but sends James to Prague to ensure Czech President Elena's moves align with United States and NATO interests. No screw-ups, or James is out. In Moscow, Defense Minister Petrov huddles with General Luka, scheming their next military move. From Santorini, Ryan pings an intel source in Russia. After constant near misses, he knows there's a bigger plot at work. He cuts through the games. The message hits Luka's desk. Mike's uneasy. What if this Russian contact's fake, just jerking Ryan around? Ryan smirks, the real show's just starting. In Vienna, a woman steps out of a clothing store, tailed. At her safe house, she's cornered but stays ice cold. She's Zoya, a seasoned operative. Turns out, the global SIM she gave Ryan set him up. On that Black Sea freighter, he found no nuke materials, only a trap that landed him on Interpol's most wanted list. Ryan trusts Zoya but doubts her source. Zoya swears by her contact. If Russia's Sokol plan is real, millions could die. Ryan demands a face-to-face with her source to stop it. Zoya agrees, promising to set it up after leaving Vienna. Outside, Ryan links with Mike. Without CIA backing, chasing Sokol's a minefield deadly at every turn. The CIA director'd crush anyone for personal gain, and Elizabeth's just climbing the ladder. James is Ryan's only real ally, but he won't drag him down. Mike doubles down, backing Ryan anyway. Joining this op could open doors no ordinary player could touch. In Rome, at the United States Embassy, an FBI task force storms in, gunning to grab Ryan for treason. Elizabeth scrambles to meet them. National intelligence says Ryan's knowledge is too valuable to fall into foreign hands. They need him back in the States. Elizabeth orders her team to track Zoya, Ryan's intel supplier, hoping she'll lead them to him. In Prague, James gets Elizabeth's update on Ryan's situation and can't help but worry. As the point man countering Russia, he's got to focus on swaying Czech President Elena to America's side. Elena's security chief, Radek, eyes the CIA's sudden visit warily. Luckily, James and Elena go way back, their rapport solid. Elena ushers James into Prague Castle. They walk and talk Russia's moves in Ukraine. The new defense minister Petrov. Elena confirms Popov and Petrov were night and day on the war. James floats a plan. The United States could push NATO to deploy missiles in the Czech Republic, pressuring Russia to pull back. In Vienna, Ryan and Mike dig through intel. Popov opposed nukes, but he's dead now. Ryan asks, who benefits most? The new defense minister. James calls Mike, hunting Ryan. He warns, Homeland Security sent FBI agents to Vienna to nab Ryan for treason. Ryan's floored, risking his life for the mission, only to be branded a traitor. Then Zoya messages, urging him to meet a senior intel officer. In the Czech Republic, Elena's father hosts a hunting trip with special guests, really a cover for dirty deals. He's in touch with a nuclear materials supplier and tycoon Lichkin. At dusk, the final guest arrives, Petrov. Turns out, this crew orchestrated Popov's hit, and they kicked off the Sokol plan. But why's Elena's dad mixed up in this? Under cover of night, the group hunts wolves. Elena's father pulls Lichkin aside and, as Lichkin aims at a wolf, shoots him dead. Lichkin, paid off and now useless, knew too much. The old man's ruthless, cold as ice. Back in Prague, James reviews footage of Popov's assassination. No cameras caught the second-floor parking lot, so he checks the first floor. He spots Radek peeling off from Elena's entourage as they hit the VIP route. Odd behavior. James sets a meeting with Elena at the stadium to jog her memory. She recalls, Radek wasn't by her side then. The truth unravels. Radek and his wife work for Elena's father. They hired a hitman for Popov, pinning it on a fall guy. After the job, Radek erased both the hitman and the patsy. But James catches a slip in the details, zeroing in on Radek. In Vienna, per Zoya's tip, Ryan and Mike head to a train station. Before boarding, Ryan clocks a camera. His hacker buddies set everything up, faking his location to throw off the FBI tail. All clear, Ryan climbs aboard to meet his contact. Meanwhile, Elizabeth and the FBI land in Vienna. They spot Ryan on camera feeds, unaware it's a decoy. On the train, Mike's ambushed by Konstantin. Someone jabs a needle into Ryan's leg, then Konstantin strikes from behind. They brawl in a cramped corridor, every move meant to kill. He yanks the train door open, dangling Ryan's head outside, guns in his face. The old man steps up.
Do you know who I am? Look at Godzilla!
But when asked what Yuri spilled about the nuke program, Ryan clams up. Luca pulls a gun, aims at Ryan, then swings it toward Konstantin. Ryan's stunned. Luca says the syringe was just water, pressing him. Want to stop Sokol? Move, we're out of time. In Austria, Elizabeth and the FBI touch down in Semmering, staking out a train station Ryan's bound to pass, but Ryan's with Luca on a different train. Baffled why Luca's aiding the CIA, Ryan listens as Luca lays it bare. This is their one shot together. Sokol's not Russia's plan, it's a rogue faction's. Luca spins a tale from 1969, a secret Soviet nuke base running project Sokol compact nuclear weapons. Parts shortages stalled it, then the government abruptly canned the program. The scientists had no clue their lives were on the line. An officer stepped out, and the cleanup crew got orders, wipe out everyone tied to Sokol, burying the project and its tech for good. But the cleanup team fractured. Soldiers bound by orders, sure, but not all were mindless drones. Sergeant Lebedev saw Sokol as the Soviet Union's salvation, refusing to kill the scientists. His squad warned, "Defy orders, you're a traitor," Lebedev roared. "No enemies here. The real traitors are in Moscow." Antonov, a teammate, wavered, swayed by Lebedev's logic. Another soldier shut it down, shooting Lebedev, who tumbled downstairs. The shooter glared at Antonov. "Got a problem." The crew slaughtered everyone. Luka, who gave the order, waited outside. When the gunfire stopped, he walked into a bloodbath, collecting the scientists' belongings to break the news to their families. Lebedev, though, wasn't dead. He grabbed a gun, slipped away, and vanished, resurfacing in the Czech Republic. He's Alina's father. Lebedev nursed a secret dream: revive the nation's glory. He teamed up with Petrov, hatching the 7 days to the Rhine war plan. His cyber war's clever, low cost, but Lebedev knows bloodless wars don't count. Now a top Russian intel officer, Luka, uncovered the scheme. Fearing it'd spark a United States-Russia clash, maybe World War III, he fed Ryan intel through Zoya, banking on the CIA to crush Sokol early. But Luka didn't see Petrov's move coming: kill Yuri, frame Ryan. To cool tensions, the CIA hung Ryan out to dry, yanking his embassy status and hunting him down. Ryan's intel went to Elizabeth, who passed it straight to CIA Director Miller. Miller scoffed, refusing Elizabeth's request to act, ordering her to drag Ryan in. Luka, playing double agent, infiltrated the plot to expose it. He knows uranium for Sokol's rare, supplied by arms dealers like Zubkov, Mike's contact. That's why Mike's still breathing. Every tip Ryan got came from Luka via Zoya. Luka meant to use Ryan to make the CIA buy Sokol's threat, never imagining Ryan'd end up a fugitive from his own country. At Semerin, Elizabeth and the FBI wait at the tunnel exit. Ryan's call catches her off guard. He lays out the truth about Sokol and Luka. Elizabeth pushes back. CIA Director Miller won't buy a Russian general's word, let alone greenlight action. Ryan warns, someone's pitting America against Russia to spark war, and they're the only ones who can stop it. As the train exits the tunnel, Elizabeth's torn. Trust Ryan's intel. Help him under the table. Spotting the train, she bolts without a word. The FBI agents freeze, confused. He's on the red train. Too late, they've been played. Ryan and Mike are already off the train in Budapest, Hungary, gearing up to cross the border. In Prague, James meets Alina's father. When James shares his suspicions about Roddick's role in Popov's assassination, the old man turns to Elena.
"Then your options are severely limited, Madam President."
Elena draws a line. She'll let NATO deploy missiles in the Czech Republic. Whatever Russia's planning, she won't let her country be their playground. In Moscow, Luka confronts Petrov, exposing Konstantin's betrayal. He flashes Konstantin's phone, proof he was feeding Ryan intel.
Where is he now?
Luka flips the script, accusing Petrov of sending Konstantin to silence him over Sokol. He leans in. "How many defense ministers vanished in the dark? I was the last face they saw." Petrov scrambles, swearing he didn't know Konstantin was a double agent, promising a probe. Luka shuts it down. Don't dig. Petrov's bosses learning about a mole would crush him. Luka's masterstroke clears his path, buries suspicion, and rattles Petrov. In Budapest, Ryan, Mike, and Luka track Zubkov, the arms dealer fueling Sokol's uranium. All ex-operatives, they find tailing him easy. Zubkov's paranoid, his villa's a fortress, no outsiders allowed. To meet him, they need him to come begging to Mike. They hatch a plan, hacking George Zubkov's right-hand man. They learn he's meeting Ian, a smuggler, at Felix's restaurant, 1 p.m. Zubkov shows, dials Ian. Ryan steps in. "If I were you, I wouldn't pick up." Ian tenses, smelling trouble. Ryan doesn't confirm he's CIA, just hints. Zubkov's under investigation for supplying terrorists. Stick with him, and Ian's company, assets, even freedom are toast. Ryan adds,
"I'd want to get the hell out of Budapest."
The warning lands. Ian texts Zubkov. Zubkov's livid. Mike, watching through binoculars, knows they've hit the mark. That night, they snatch George. Next morning, Mike, carrying George's bag, hits a restaurant, stashing it behind a sofa. Across the street, Ryan sets up a scope, syncing with Mike. They wait. Zubkov, frantic without George, tracks the phone's GPS to the restaurant. He tears through the place, hears a buzz, finds the bag. The phone rings, no one talks. Ryan, from his perch, dials and hangs up, again and again, driving Zubkov nuts. Find George, now. Even lounging in his villa's pool, Zubkov's on edge, terrified. George is spilling everything to Interpol. Outside Zubkov's villa, Mike's operative buddy moves. He stuffs a fake bomb into a teddy bear, drives to Zubkov's gate, slaps a hacking device on the lock, and works his laptop. The gate glides open. Child's play for a hacker. He pulls in, darts out through a closing gate, and vanishes. Zubkov spots the intruder on camera, senses danger. His guard checks the car, sees the bomb ticking down. Bomb, run. Zubkov bolts from the villa. A driver's ready. He floors it, calling Mike, begging to flee Budapest. Mike demands 100 grand up front, orders him to ditch his sim, toss the phone, and stay dark until they meet at a set address. Zubkov races over, rattled by Georges' disappearance. Seeing Mike, he relaxes until he steps inside and spots Georges, bound. Mike jams a gun to his head. Zubkov knows he's screwed, no way out. Ryan leans in, breaking him fast. The uranium's headed to Matoksa. Ryan radios Elizabeth for backup, trusting his intel. She's all in. In Moscow's Kremlin, an emergency meeting tackles Alina's green light for NATO missiles in the Czech Republic. Petrov calls it a warning shot, an invasion signal, with Russian troops camped near Slovakia, in missile range. Elena meant to block NATO, but Popov's murder in front of her flipped the script. Petrov suspects James, cozying up to Elena, swayed her. He pushes for S-400 cruise missiles on the Czech border, loud in public to flex at the United States. The Russian president signs off. Post-meeting, Petrov asks about the president's chief of staff, a no-show, sick at home. The president says, truth is, he's locked in an intel agency's underground cell, nailed for treason by Luka. Luka interrogates, bluffing that Petrov's in custody, pressing for names. The chief admits shadowing the president for Petrov, overhearing calls to Sarhan Lichkin about the crossbow and scattered details. Luka considers sparing him, but the chief sneers. This place is whores, crooks, and bureaucrats. I just wanted a country to be proud of. His rant seals his fate. Luka ends him. In Prague, James pegs Roddick for Popov's hit. While Roddick's wife and kid are out, he and an agent slip into their house. No smoking gun, but James spots photos featuring Alina's dad, Kovac, a former Radial Defense University instructor. Their tight bond raises flags. James visits Kovac with a bottle of liquor. Chatting, he learns Roddick hates Russia, but Kovac clocks James's dogged pursuit of Roddick. Kovac calls Petrov, probing about nuclear materials. Petrov's in the dark. Zubkov and the chief have gone silent. Uranium's the linchpin. Without it, their plan's toast. At least he's got Luka. Zubkov's cuffed, loaded into a CIA van. Ryan's shocked. Elizabeth showed up herself. She's floored he shared the uranium drop point instantly. She vows, if Ryan's got a way to stop Sokol, go all out. She's got his back. Miller calls, grilling her on Ryan's capture. Elizabeth lies, no trace. In the Czech Republic, Elena preps a ceremony for NATO's missiles. Roddick's wife returns home, spotting signs of a pro break-in. At the NATO missile ceremony, Roddick's wife calls him, panicked. If the CIA's onto them, Kovac will wipe out their family to cover tracks. Roddick orders her to grab their daughter and flee Prague, promising to regroup soon. Hanging up, he hustles Elena out, claiming a security threat. She complies, climbing into his car. The convoy rolls, but Roddick veers off, ditching the others. He takes Elena to an underground parking lot, ties her up, switches cars, and calls Kovac her father. Roddick knows Kovac will eliminate loose ends, including him and his family. He offers Elena for his wife and kid, setting to meet at a rural villa. James hears Roddick snatched Elena and orders a pursuit. Tracking Roddick's call to Kovac and his rural route, James digs for properties they own there. Roddick reaches the villa, guns down a greeting guard, locks Elena in a room by a bridge, and sets an ambush for Kovac. In Russia, Ryan's team hits the Matoksa nuclear facility, long abandoned. Inside, Luka spots Ryan on cameras, ordering his men to move a small nuke and scrub the place clean. Ryan arrives to darkness, but a smoldering cigarette betrays life. Sneaking to the door, he drops a Russian soldier stepping out. Ryan alerts Elizabeth, then loses contact with headquarters. The team splits up. In a room, rifling through files, Ryan's startled by Luka. Luka says he's stuck spying here. Sokol can't be stopped yet. He hasn't ID'd the mastermind. It's their only lead. He bolts. Ryan rallies his team. At the building's south end, they catch Russian soldiers moving a warhead and engage. Luka seals a door, slipping away. Ryan can't catch him. Mike calls in a chopper. They grab a wounded teammate, clashing hard with Russian troops. Outgunned, they're saved when the chopper unloads from above, clearing the enemy. They escape, but Sokol's still in play. A text pings Ryan a Czech location. They fly to Kokot, Finland, for a private jet to Prague. Studying last night's files, Ryan uncovers a bombshell, Sokol's a nuclear cruise missile mimicking United States designs. If it detonates, the world will blame America. A warhead's en route from Russia to the Czech Republic. Luka, nearing the Sokol puppet master, has his phone confiscated. At a Czech hunting lodge, he faces Lebedev, now Kovac, Alina's dad. 53 years ago, Lebedev defied orders to kill Sokol scientists, took a bullet, and fled in the chaos, resurfacing in the Czech Republic under a new name. At the United States Embassy in Prague, CIA tracks the warhead via flight data, guessing its detonation site. Ryan, still a fugitive, pops up on cameras. Director Miller sends agents to nab him. Embassy allies tip Ryan to run. James, working the Czech police chief, sets a trap at the evac point. Agents chase Ryan downstairs, catching a decoy. Ryan strolls through the lobby. Spotted, he sprints, dodging through an alley to Mike, who's mid-lunch. They bolt to the rendezvous. Safe. Agents arrive, flashing Interpol warrants, but in the Czech Republic, they've got no juice. Ryan and Mike, grinning, let local cops escort them. They're headed to Prague Castle to see Elena. Elena interrogates Radek's wife. Last night, Radek kidnapped her, but she escaped the cabin. Radek chased her to the villa, where they clashed until Kovac stabbed him dead from behind. Elena reels. Her father killed Popov. Kovac hid his ambitions flawlessly. Elena was his puppet. Even her election was rigged with his cash and clout. James arrives at dawn, but Kovac is gone. He warns Elena. Popov's murder was just the opening act of a bigger scheme. He urges her to help the CIA hunt Kovac. Radek's wife, despite Kovac killing her husband, shares his cause and clams up, loyal to the end. Ryan visits Elena, warning of nuclear warheads in the Czech Republic, but Luka's gone silent, leaving its location a mystery. Learning NATO's convoy is 3 hours from Chaslov airbase, Ryan pulls its route. He rethinks his theory. Rogue Russians framing the United States for a nuke might be off. If they make the world think America brought a warhead to the Czechs, Russia'd retaliate. Chaslov's the target. He moves out. Ryan's chopper tails the NATO convoy. The United States Embassy in Prague links him with the convoy's Colonel Moore. Ryan warns, a vehicle packing the nuke might be trailing, but a bomb-laden rig can't speed up. As the convoy hits a tunnel, the call drops, signals gone. Elena recalls the route cuts through Nimbik, a town of 20,000. James wonders. Blow up a town to piss off the world. Targets Nimbik. Czech forces set a 5 km perimeter. Elena grills Radek's wife on Kovac's whereabouts. Stonewalled, she threatens the woman's daughter. In the air, Ryan's chopper spots the nuke truck barreling toward NATO's convoy, 5 kilometers back. He scrambles for a plan. Nearing the next tunnel, Ryan orders his pilot to race ahead, patching through to Moore. He tells NATO to slow down, let the nuke truck catch up, and detonate it inside the tunnel, the only way to avoid a bigger disaster. Moore trusts him. NATO enters. The nuke truck closes in. Ryan directs the chopper to land at the tunnel's far end. Moore has a driver park a truck crosswise near the tunnel exit, then both bail, sprinting out. Fearing they won't make it, Ryan stops a NATO vehicle, tells its driver to switch rigs, and floors it into the tunnel to grab them. Czech troops cut power. The tunnel goes black. Ryan finds Moore and the driver, peeling out. The nuke truck's driver, seeing lights die, fumbles for his headlights. Too late, he slams into the barricade truck. A massive blast rocks the tunnel. Ryan's vehicle catches the shockwave, smashing into a divider. The tunnel collapses. The embassy loses Ryan's signal. Tension spikes. A plane lands. Mike bolts to the road, shouting for Ryan. The truck held Ryan, Moore, and the driver crawl out alive. Nimbuk's safe, but at the hunting lodge, Luka smirks at Kovac. Long as it blows, we're good. Others'll fan the flames. Kovac is stunned when Luka mentions the crossbow. Snipers around the lodge drop Kovac's guards. Hearing chaos, Kovac draws. Elena leading a raid beats him. Luka ties a belt to stop Kovac's arterial bleed. Elena faces her dad. Luka says the belt'll hold him till a hospital, but she wants a private word. Kovac confesses he married her mom for power, molded Elena as a tool, and rigged her election. Her life's a lie, she's his puppet. He hands her a letter, pleading for understanding. Elena tosses it into the fireplace, yanks off the belt. Kovac bleeds out. Luka grabs his phone from a guard, texts Ryan and Airfield's coordinates. Ryan orders the chopper there fast. Elizabeth, after covertly aiding Ryan's tunnel strike, gets yanked back to headquarters, suspended for defying orders. She begs Miller. Ryan's intel is critical. America's being dragged into war. Miller brushes her off. At her hotel, Elizabeth finds a letter with an email and password. Logging in, she pulls a draft video, saves it to a USB, and grins. She contacts General Ramos, using James's name, spilling everything from Ryan's Czech intel and handing over the video evidence. The Czech nuke blast triggers an emergency White House meeting. The vice president hammers Miller. A crisis this big, and CIA's clueless. Miller squirms. General Ramos lays out evidence. CIA Director Miller sat on Sokol intel and sent agents to grab Ryan. Elizabeth backs him up. Ryan alone had the scoop, stonewalled by Miller. The vice president orders her to meet Ryan's every need, handing her full control. At the airfield, Ryan links with James and Elena. They're Moscow-bound, Luca in tow. A tougher fight looms, and Ryan's got no intel, no plan, nothing.
You have me.
Past midnight, Elizabeth briefs the president at the White House. A mini nuke detonated in the Czech Republic. Intel suggests it's a United States-style missile, meant to pit Russia and America against each other, sparking war. She urges him not to take the bait, vowing updates if anything breaks. Ryan tails Luca to Moscow. Luca's cover as a Sokol mole blows. Russian operatives snatch him into a car. Ryan follows at a distance. Luca's hauled to a warehouse, odds grim, but he stays cool, lighting a cigarette from his case. Petrov steps in, owning his scheme. Popov was useless. I helped Russia. Luca sees Petrov's worse than Lebedev ever was. Unfazed by Luca's judgment, Petrov hands a gun to an operative, orders him to kill Luca, and walks out. The rookie hesitates, psyching himself up. Before he pulls the trigger, his head explodes. Ryan strikes from a side door. Luca snags the operative's gun. Together, they tear through the Russian squad, scattering them in a panic. In the Kremlin, Petrov joins a military briefing. Russia, blaming the Czech blast on a United States nuke, ups its alert. Petrov notes America's at DEFCON 3, pushing for a match. Another general says the Czech mess proves United States deceit. The president greenlights Su-57 fighters for combat readiness, visible to flex muscle but forbids action without orders. Luca checks his cigarette case. A mini-recorder tucked underneath caught Petrov's confession. He entrusts it to Ryan for Elena. In the Czech Republic, James meets Vova, a retired Russian soldier. Showing a young Kovac in uniform, he asks what kind of troop he was. Vova reveals Kovac worked cleanup for the emergency response unit, handling fires and chemical leaks. Chernobyl crushed the unit. Some died, others disowned their past. James asks Vova to track down Kovac's old teammates, needing a meet today. Vova sends an address. James goes solo, but as he enters the building, Vova ambushes him. A knife grazes James. They grapple. James shoves Vova downstairs, demanding why. Vova confesses. After digging into the Motska unit, General Antonov called, ordering him to kill anyone sniffing around. Loyalty to his country left him no choice. Elena confronts Petrov privately. She exposes his plot with Kovac. Petrov doesn't flinch, warning her, lead the Czech Republic well, steer clear of NATO. That night, Ryan sneaks a meet with James, handing over the recording nailing Petrov for Popov's murder. James drops a bomb. Antonov's in on the war plot. Luka Bok's Antonov's his close friend, no way he'd betray. But people hide their true colors. They decide to hit Antonov's place for answers. At Antonov's house, Ryan and Luka catch a guy torching files. Ryan drops him, salvaging papers from the fireplace, including specs on the USS Roosevelt in the Baltic. The Russians studied every United States warship there. Ryan's stunned. Why'd they have this? Antonov wants war. Ryan finds orders deploying Russia's Fearless signed only by Petrov. Antonov and Petrov are plotting a coup. Meanwhile, Antonov's aboard Fearless, gearing up to ignite conflict. Mike escorts Popov's widow to Elena's safe house. Learning Petrov killed her husband, she vows to work with Elena and the CIA, delivering the recording to Russia's president. She sets them up to infiltrate the Kremlin via a secret tunnel. In D.C., the military scrambles over Russia's moves. Elizabeth briefs the president. Ryan's intel says Fearless's deployment wasn't the Kremlin's call. Petrov acted alone, planning a coup. She trusts Ryan, but the president needs harder proof. Luka plans to board Fearless to stop Antonov. Ryan warns it's a death wish, but Luka flips it. What did you do? Ryan's gotta get to the USS Roosevelt in the Baltic, countering from America's side. The top Russian and United States operatives part ways, each boarding their nation's warship to halt World War III. Ryan sprints through Russian woods to the Estonia border, dodging a checkpoint, scaling a hill. He waits for a chopper that doesn't show. He dials his contact, no answer. Panicked, a helicopter rises from a cliff. Ryan bolts to a clearing, boarding for the Baltic. Elizabeth calls. The defense secretary won't clear Ryan for the Roosevelt. He begs her to push harder. At Russia's Kronstadt port, Luka drives to Fearless. As intel chief, he breezes past guards, parks by the ship, and boards into Antonov's grip. A soldier leads Luka to Antonov's quarters. Near the hatch, Luka clocks the guy, snags his gun, but facing Antonov, he surrenders it. Antonov locks him in a cabin. In Moscow, Elena, James, and Mike rolled to a desolate spot. Mike calls their plan insane, but they've got no choice. Elena swears to get them out alive. James knocks a door opens. Popov's security chief guides them into a tunnel to the Kremlin, risking all for justice. Past a coded gate, they hit a fork. Sinking watches. The chief hands Mike a tunnel map. They're on their own. James heads for Petrov. Mike escorts Elena to Russia's president. The president learns Fearless is prepping to sail. Hearing Petrov went rogue, he storms out, confronting him. Soft talk with America lets them trample us. Here, I give the orders. Russia's president orders Petrov to recall Fearless, but the ship's already at sea. Locked in a cabin, Luka chats calmly with his young guard, Kagansky, dropping a hint. Ever wonder why I'm here? The door swings open. Shut up, Kagansky. He's a snake in the grass. Antonov sends the kid out, facing Luka alone. They dredge up 1969 slaughtering Sokol scientists left Antonov haunted, while Luka buried it. Antonov brands Luka a traitor. Luka fires back. You're the traitor. In the Kremlin, Petrov holds a secret meeting, rallying with fire. His grandfather, a Stalingrad marshal, embodied Russia's glory. Post-Soviet bureaucrats and spineless politicians gutted that pride. He respects the president, but his soft, rigid policies stall progress. We were the world's most feared nation. A monster keeping the globe awake. Today, we reclaim our honor. Petrov calls a vote to oust the president. Most hands rise. Over the Baltic, Ryan's chopper nears the USS Roosevelt. The captain, tipped off about a passenger, bans landing, ordering them back. No ship, I'm dead. A commando unhooks, shoving Ryan into the sea. Bold and brutal, the chopper peels off. Man overboard, 2,000 meters ahead. Maritime law forces the captain to fish Ryan out. Grudgingly, Ryan warns, Russia's in a coup. Fearless's Baltic run lacks presidential approval. He begs the captain not to bite the bait. The captain shrugs. War's war, I've got rules. This is what they want you to do. Radar pings. A cruise missile ship, 85 nautical miles out, closing fast. It's Fearless. The captain listens. Ryan reveals Antonov has Roosevelt's files down to the captain's psych evals and will exploit weaknesses. The captain's unfazed. They've dug deep on Fearless, Antonov, and every Baltic player. Beyond standard protocol, Roosevelt and Fearless are set to clash. Fearless sees Roosevelt hold course. Roosevelt's captain orders. Prep harpoon missiles. Teams A and B, stay sharp. They're baiting you. On Fearless, Luka works Kagansky, urging him. Antonov's lying, choose what's right, not wrong orders. In the Kremlin tunnels, James finds his door, burns the code sheet, and punches 3 5s. A guard appears. James demands Petrov. I know about the crossbow. James enters the Kremlin, only to get locked in an interrogation room. Petrov shows. James lays it out. The crossbow is doomed. The coup's crumbling. He offers Petrov sanctuary at the United States Embassy. Patriots don't sell out. What about traitors, comrade? Elena and Mike slip into the Kremlin. Popov's widow calls Russia's president, setting up Elena's meeting. She lays bare her father's and Petrov's plot, offering to take the fall. Handing over Petrov's confession to Popov's murder, she proposes normalizing Russia-Czech ties and easing United States-Russia tensions. She plays the tape. Stunned by Petrov's ambition, the president agrees to reconcile with the Czechs and America. The three nations join forces. On the USS Roosevelt, Ryan stalls the captain, but it's futile. If Fearless strikes, Roosevelt will hit back. In the Kremlin, the president holds an emergency session, airing the tape. Branding Petrov a traitor, he orders his arrest. Petrov panics hearing his name. In a hallway, spotting the president's guards, he whispers to an aide and draws his gun only to be gunned down. The coup collapses. But Fearless steams on. Missile bays open. Roosevelt's captain activates close-in defenses to auto mode, ready to fire. Fearless detects it, shifting to combat status. Aboard Fearless, Luka keeps at Kagansky, sharing his regret over blind orders. He presses. Why's a senior aide guarding me? Because you question Antonov. It clicks for Kagansky. As war looms, Roosevelt's captain won't budge, and Antonov orders 2 cruise missiles loaded. Kagansky bursts in. Sir, do we have strategic commands go?
He was lying.
Antonov orders Luka hauled off, but Kagansky demands commands verification. Antonov ignores him, barking for launch codes, threatening Kagansky's arrest. Roosevelt's captain reports to the United States president, who authorizes fire if attacked. Ryan's gut churns, stuck watching. Antonov slots the launch key. Missiles ready. Everyone sweating. Antonov hits the button. Roosevelt counters, firing an interceptor. The first missile shreds United States defenses. A second could end it. You want war, sir? He does. On Roosevelt, close-in systems need 4 minutes to reset. The captain, out of time, orders 4 missiles launched. Ryan warns it's the trap they want, but the captain brushes him off, telling him to stand clear. Ryan pins his hopes on Luka. In the White House, Elizabeth begs the president to halt Roosevelt, stressing the attack wasn't Russia's call. On Fearless, Kagansky defies Antonov, urging his crew to stop the illegal order. Antonov interrupts. Kagansky draws. I swore to protect my country. Treason means death. So does betrayal. Luka and Antonov, both cloaking crimes in righteousness, face off. No one dies today. Tensions ease. Everyone knows war's cost. Kagansky subdues Antonov. Luka yanks the key, hailing Roosevelt. Roosevelt, you copy. Antonov's detained. The United States president calls the captain. Have we been hit? No, sir. World War III's averted. Nobody wants war except those scheming from corner offices for profit. Here's the full summary of Season 3 of Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. Would you like us to continue with more seasons? If so, please leave a comment below to let us know. If there's enough interest, we'll definitely keep going. Thank you all for following along. Goodbye and see you next time.